So Maris Fathom of Night is here, and we're going to do a boss breakdown so you guys know exactly how to defeat this Everdark Sovereign to get the prize. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Quick shout out required, this footage is brought to me by one of my mods in my Discord, so massive thanks to Wes. But starting off, the very first phase of the fight is going to be considerably easy comparative to what you've played before. This first phase is pretty much a joke to get you the item you need in order to actually do damage to the second phase boss. As you can see, the first phase has very little health, and the moveset is exactly what you have seen in the original Augur fight, so we're not going to spend a ton of time on phase 1, just focus on getting him down as fast as possible in order for that loot to drop for you. Now the loot that's going to drop is required for phase 2. It is the only way that you can get damage on the boss, and it's going to be a original weapon made legendary with the Storm Ruler Ash of War on it. This is a very key Ash of War, and it's going to have two separate modes of attack. You're going to have a light attack as well as a heavy attack to do damage to the boss. Now the light attack you can do at any given time as long as you have FP. Now in order to get the heavy attack, which does a lot more damage, you need to charge up the weapon until you see all the energy around you get sucked into the weapon, and then you can unleash a devastating vertical slash that goes incredibly far and does a lot of damage to the boss. I suggest using this heavy attack much more often than you would the light attack, as the light attack you can spam, but it doesn't do nearly enough damage in my opinion. Now in order to balance this fight well, there's a constant struggle between doing damage and dodging all the AoE that the boss does. We're going to go over every single attack Maris does here. I'm going to slow everything down so you can see it very easily, but at the beginning of the fight, do as much damage as possible before he starts spamming his moves. Now you will see some similar moves in phase 2 that you did in the original Augur fight, but as you can see right now, he does this attack where he's going to try to put everybody to sleep. You basically need to get out of range of this and do damage to him with your Ash of War, because if you get too close, he's going to do a ton of damage to you and put you to sleep. I think one of the reasons this boss fight is so hard is because Maris constantly moves around and is seemingly out of range almost all the time, causing you to fight more against your stamina and AoE than the actual boss. Now one of the first moves, and probably the hardest move to dodge, is this beam that he shoots out of his eye and puts an area of effect explosion on the ground. You have about 3 seconds to run out of this or you are going to get annihilated. It does a ton of damage. I highly recommend running as fast as you can or using skills to move you quickly out of this space. The telltale sign he's about to unleash this attack is he's going to start sucking energy in through his eye, and then you'll see the black line shoot out, at which point you have a little bit of time to move. Now the next move he does is he's going to start pulling what looks like water into his body, and then he will unleash somewhat of a large slime or tidal wave that's going to move its way across the entire map. You cannot get stuck in this or it will absolutely kill you. What you need to do is just move to the right or left and run around it, and it will go past you without you taking any damage. Now before the halfway point in this fight, this is considerably easier, and you should get used to this because at the second half of the fight, you're going to be dodging this giant blob while dodging every single area of effect attack you can possibly think of. Now remember what I said earlier about balancing when you're attacking and when you're dodging. At any point that he's kind of flying around and you've already evaded an attack, use that time to spam as many attacks as you can, because all the damage helps no matter how small it is. And when you see Maris kind of start to glide and then he spins around, he's going to summon these dark blue orbs around him. These are going to be used to shoot beams of light at you, which don't do a ton of damage, but they can get very annoying unless you take them out. All you need to do is lock onto them and use your weapon to take them out, and they will no longer be a problem. He's going to summon these a few times throughout the fight, and if you take care of them early, it's just one less thing you need to worry about because there's a lot of AoE in this fight. Now speaking of AoE, he's going to unleash a ton of bubbles that are going to stick to the ground all around you. I found that the area of effect explosion they cause is way too big and makes these really hard to dodge. My suggestion is just to run away from them as fast and as far away as possible to evade these bubbles. This is one of those times in the Maris fight where you need to be concentrating on survival rather than damaging the boss. wait for the volley of bubbles to be completed, and start doing damage to the boss again. As you can see here, we're running away from the giant wave of water that he has unleashed. At the same time, he is still shooting us with beams of light, and we also need to be worried about the bubbles that he shoots out. So just to go over priorities, because I know there's a lot of stuff to keep track of in this fight, dodge the slime water that's oozing out all over the map. You then need to take out the orbs around him, at which point you need to start doing damage while dodging bubbles. Seems legit, right? Now, one thing I do want to note here, it does seem like when you destroy all the dark blue orbs hovering around Maris, he will get stunned, giving you a chance to charge up your massive Ash of War attack and unleash it, causing a decent amount of damage. Oh, the other thing I want to say as well, which I had a problem with the first time I fought Maris, is that you have to actually be charging your Ash of War in order to get FP back. I ran out of FP and I couldn't figure out how to get more of it because I didn't have any Starlight Shards, but if you simply just hold it down and charge it, your FP will naturally charge up. I can't believe that took me so long to figure out, but I'm assuming there's someone else who's having that same problem. Now guys, that is pretty much it for the Maris fight. The only issue that I have found that makes this fight incredibly hard is the fact that after you get Maris down to about 50% health, he's just going to start spamming all of these attacks at once, and it becomes a war of attrition to see who can actually damage who quicker. I'm gonna have the entire boss fight at the end here so you can see exactly how everything looks step by step without anything slowed down, and you can see everything in real time. It does get incredibly difficult when he's shooting you with the bubbles and you're dodging a giant slime water going across the arena and you're dealing with beams of light that are hitting you. The only attack that I haven't seen him use in phase 2 is the dark laser beam that comes out of his eyes, then causing an area of effect on the ground to explode. And thank God for that. But if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments. I would love to go through and answer every single one of them for you. So I'll see you once again at the end of the video. But guys, there you have it for the Maris fight, this week's Everdark Sovereign. There are more Everdark Sovereigns coming out within the next few weeks, so make sure to stay tuned for guides for those. If you enjoy Nightreign content and Souls-like content all together, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification on the way out. Once again, massive shout out to my buddy Wes, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.